Hello everyone. In this section we'll cover the topics disaccharides and polysaccharides from the chapter Biomolecules of chapter 14. The topics to be covered in this section includes disaccharides and polysaccharides. The three examples of disaccharides are sucrose, maltose and lactose, and the three examples of polysaccharides are starch, cellulose and glycogen. So now let's see in detail about each one of them. The first one is disaccharides. A disaccharide with the formula C12H22O11 is a sugar formed when two monosaccharides are joined together by glycosidic linkage. As we all know that monosaccharides are simple sugars in which there are one oxygen atom and two hydrogen atoms for each carbon atom present in the molecule, and they have general formula as CH2ON. So when two monosaccharides combines together, we will get a disaccharide. As the word itself says that di means two. So when two monosaccharides combines together by glycosidic linkage, we will get a disaccharide. So what do you mean by glycosidic linkage? The two monosaccharides are joined together by an oxide linkage formed by the loss of water molecule. Such a linkage between the two monosaccharide units through an oxygen atom is called glycosidic linkage. And the three examples of disaccharides are sucrose, maltose and lactose. The first one is sucrose. Sucrose is one of the most common disaccharide which on hydrolysis gives equimolar mixture of D plus glucose and D minus fructose. It is a common sugar that we use in our day-to-day lives, and when we hydrolyze sucrose we will get glucose and fructose. These two monosaccharides, that is glucose and fructose, are held together by a glycosidic linkage between carbon 1 of alpha D glucose and carbon 2 of beta D fructose. Since the reducing groups of glucose and fructose are involved in glycosidic bond formation, sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. So now here we can see the structure of beta alpha D glucose and beta D fructose. When these both combines together by a glycosidic bond, we'll get the structure of sucrose. Here in the structure of beta D fructose, we can see that the carbon 2 is at the right hand side, and in the structure of sucrose it is at the left hand side. That is, we'll flip this beta D fructose 180 degree towards left for the glycosidic bond formation to happen. And this carbon 2 comes at the left hand side, and thus all other bonds also gets flipped. That is, the CH2OH bond which was at the bottom in beta D fructose comes at the top, and OH bond comes at the bottom. Like that, all other bonds of beta D fructose gets flipped. Sucrose is extra-rotatory glucose and levorotatory fructose. Since the lever rotation of fructose, that is minus 92.4 degrees, more than the extra rotation of glucose, that is plus 52.5 degree, the mixture is lever rotatory. So what do you mean by lever and extra rotatory? If a compound rotates plane polarized light in clockwise direction, then it is said to be dextrorotatory, and if it rotates light in anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction, then it's known as lever rotatory. So sucrose is dextrorotatory, but resulting mixture of glucose and fructose is slightly lever rotatory because the lever rotatory fructose has a greater molar rotation than the dextrorotatory glucose. The hydrolysis of sucrose into single sugars is necessary before the sugars can be metabolized. So this hydrolysis of sucrose brings about a change in the sign of rotation from dextro, that is plus, to levo, that is minus, and the product is named as invert sugar. So sucrose is known as invert sugar because the hydrolysis results in an inversion of rotation of plane polarized light, that is a 50-50 mixture of both fructose and glucose, its two constituent monosaccharides. So what is the difference between sucrose and invert sugar? Sucrose is a disaccharide, meaning that it is made up of two different individual sugar molecules attached together, in this case glucose and fructose. And whereas invert sugar is made by breaking the bonds between the glucose and fructose, and resulting is a solution of half-free glucose and half-free fructose. So this is all about sucrose, and the next one is maltose. It is a sugar produced by the breakdown of starch. It is another example of disaccharide composed of two alpha D glucose units in which carbon 1 of one glucose is linked to carbon 4 of another glucose unit, and maltose is another reducing sugar. So in this structure also we can see a glycosidic bond, and these are the food items that contains maltose in it. Maltose is generally found in grains, vegetables and fruits. Maltose is useful in making hard candies, and it is also used as an inexpensive sweetener. Maltose is often used in Chinese cooking for roasted meats and also for crisping up the skin on poultry like fried scraps and all. And it's also used as a sugar that tastes less sweet than table sugar, and it contains no fructose, and it is also used as a substitute for high fructose corn syrup. Like any sugar, maltose may be harmful for our health if consumed excess, leading to obesity, diabetes, and many other heart diseases. So the next one is lactose. Lactose is a disaccharide. It is also a sugar composed of galactose and glucose subunits and has the molecular formula C12H22O11, which is the same as that of maltose and sucrose. And lactose makes up around 2 to 8% of milk, and it is a reducing sugar. And these are the food items that are rich in lactose. Lactose promotes the growth of beneficial intestinal bacteria, and it also increases the resistance to intestinal infections among infants and children, and also helps in maintaining good intestinal flora. So this is all about disaccharides. The next one is polysaccharides. Polysaccharides or polycarbohydrates are the most abundant carbohydrates found in food. They are long-chain polymeric carbohydrates composed of monosaccharide units bound together by glycosidic linkages. These are the most commonly encountered carbohydrates in nature, and they mainly act as a food storage for people. The different types of polysaccharides are starch, cellulose, and glycogen. The first one is starch. Starch is the main storage polysaccharide of plants. It is the most important dietary source for human beings also, and it is a high content of starch is found in cereals, roots, tubers, and some vegetables. Starch is a polymer of alpha glucose and consists of two components, that is amylose and amylopectin. Amylose is a water-soluble component which constitutes about 15 to 20% of starch, whereas amylopectin is insoluble in water and constitutes about 80 to 85% of starch. So now here we can see the structure of starch in plants and the food items that contain starch in it. Starchy food items are a good source of energy and the main source of a range of nutrients in our diet. As well as starch, they also contain fibers, calcium, iron, and vitamin B. Diets high in refined starches are linked to a higher risk of diabetes, heart disease, and weight gain. In addition, they can cause blood sugar to spike rapidly and then fall sharply. This is especially important for people with diabetes and pre-diabetes, since the body cannot efficiently remove sugar from their blood. The second polysaccharide is cellulose. Cellulose is the most abundant organic substance in plant kingdom. It occurs exclusively in plants and it is a predominant constituent of cell wall of plant cells. Cellulose is straight-chain polysaccharide composed only of beta-D glucose units which are joined by glycosidic linkage between carbon 1 of one glucose unit and carbon 4 of next glucose unit. Here you can see the structure of cellulose. Now in this figure we can see the structure of plant cellulose. The third polysaccharide is glycogen. Glycogen is a multi-branch polysaccharide composed of glucose that serves as a form of energy storage in animals, fungi, and bacteria. The carbohydrates are stored in animal body as glycogen, and it is also known as animal starch because its structure is similar to that of amylopectin and is rather more branched. It's present in liver, muscles, and brain. When the body needs glucose, enzymes break the glycogen down to glucose. Glycogen is also found in yeast and fungi. So now here we can see the structure of glycogen atom. Glycogen's role in maintaining blood glucose level is especially important because glucose is virtually the only fuel used by the brain except during prolonged starvations. Moreover, the glucose from glycogen is readily mobilized and is therefore a good source of energy for sudden strenuous activities. So this is all about disaccharides and polysaccharides. So I hope all of you understood about disaccharides and polysaccharides. Thank you guys for watching till the end. Thank you all.